Welcome back to my channel, and in this video I want to talk about what I think about interest rate increase and how should you plan ahead as an investor for 2022. So this is actually a question I answered a couple of days ago in Investing Accelerator. It was raised by one of the students. It was actually the weekly coaching call February 11th, 2022. So this is my response, and I wanted to go through this with you because I think it will have a lot of value in it. And it will really help you out when it comes to planning for your portfolio this year, what to expect, why you shouldn't panic, and how you can shift your portfolio in a way that takes advantage of what will happen in the future. So let's get started. So the question here is really, could you let us know your thoughts about how we should plan for the federal rate hike that will happen in March and other interest rate hikes this year? The market has been volatile and highly unexpected. Inflation really hurts the market. Thank you. So these are the typical questions we look at in Investing Accelerator, where we are analyzing major economic events. For example, like federal interest rate increase. So right now, there's the announcement just a week or two ago, and there's a lot of market fear. And the stock is going down. If you are investing in S&P 500, you will probably know that it is going down. And it is based on the fear that the interest rate is increasing, not the interest rate is increasing itself. So it's actually, there is a distinction between the rumor and the facts. So the fact is that the interest rate has not increased yet, but the fear is there, which is why the stock is going down. Now, when you look at interest rate increase, historically, technology sectors will decline due to the fear of unprofitable business going bankrupt, and housing sector will decline as well because of the fear of defaulting on their mortgage payments. So that is the general residential people. So let's talk about the technology sector first. Profitable companies will prevail. So I think that is pretty straightforward. If the company is making money, they're more resilient. Companies with huge cash balance will prevail. However, the fear will still drive down the stock price. So right now, we'll observe some technology companies are giving back all of their COVID gains. So some of the examples are Facebook, Netflix, PayPal, Square, TDOC. So I also classify that one as a technology company, and also medical companies as well, such as Moderna, and COVID-driven stocks such as Peloton. So there's also a couple of scandals revolving around Peloton, so that makes the situation more complicated. In the last 1 to 2 weeks, there's a rumor on acquisition, so that's why the stock itself is coming back up with a new CEO and kind of cutting thousands of staff from their payroll. So in terms of the housing side, people who have fixed rate mortgages will be fine. And people who have variable mortgages will also be fine for now, as the payments are actually fixed. So when you're looking at a variable mortgage, for my mortgage at least, the payment itself is fixed. So when the interest rate is going up, the principal payments will be going down, but the interest portion will be increasing. So if I'm paying, let's say, $2,000 on the mortgage payments, the $2,000 itself is fixed, and then the amount that gets paid down on the principal will be less. So that is really the key distinction here. It's not until refinancing, which may happen 3 to 5 years from now, then that's when you need to consider, are they able to refinance? Are they able to pass the stress test, so on and so forth? And what is going to be the interest rate during that time? So for the next 3 to 5 years, I think it will still be a bull market for the housing market overall. But we see that a lot of housing companies have already reflected the fear of interest rate increase and have gone down. So I'm talking about Redfin, which is a real estate website, Open Door Technology, which is a real estate iBuying program plus an app, Zillow, which is also a website for real estate, and they also had an iBuying program which they closed off this year. So the next part is commodities. So theoretically speaking, the increase in interest rate will make bonds more attractive, which will lead to a decline in commodity prices. Now, however, we also have a supply chain shortage, and the interest rate has not increased yet. So like I said, it's a lot of fear in the market, but the interest rate actually has not increased yet, and supply chain is in its own crisis. So that's why right now a lot of basic commodities are at all-time high. I do expect commodity prices to calm down once interest rates is increasing in the near future, but it's heavily dependent on supply chain crisis instead of the interest rate itself. So right now we're still in the early stage of the interest rate increase. As we step closer to the late stage interest rate increase, then people will realize that, increase in interest rate is actually okay, and they'll start investing again. Right now, the amount of fear that is in the market is preventing a lot of people from investing. But once they realize that, hey, maybe we don't need to panic anymore, then that's when people will start investing. So we shouldn't encounter any problems until the default rate of properties increase or companies start going bankrupt. So you might see that, maybe in next year or next year. But of course, Feds will try not to bankrupt their own companies in the economy because obviously no one wants to go bankrupt. So the next sector is really oil and gas. So this is heavily dependent on the oil gas price and the future shortage. So right now, winter is coming to an end. Previously, UK, Europe has really low oil and gas inventory, and the dependence is getting lower because it's already February. And right now, there's the Russian-Ukraine crisis, which is why the oil and gas tension is really high. So when you think about oil price being at $94 as we speak, I think the oil and gas run is pretty much complete. And if you have been following my email newsletter, then you'll realize I've already exited my oil and gas position for Suncor Energy at a little bit over 100% return for the last couple of months. So if you still have an oil and gas position, then I think you should probably plan for an exit soon. There is going to be some tension between Russia and Ukraine, which is what is pushing the oil and gas price up to almost $100. So there's a little bit of room remaining, but then you should plan for your exit soon instead of waiting for summertime to come around and the demand decreases and then suddenly you're stuck with the position because you're not able to exit at a good profit. So let's look ahead. So looking ahead, there are a couple of key drivers you need to focus on. The first one is airlines and travel. So as North America is actually abandoning COVID measures, we're seeing airlines starting to go up. So I'm talking about UAL, DAL, Air Canada, Boeing, so on and so forth. So I expect this summer, airlines and airline stocks will be quite popular. So I think a lot of people will want to travel this summer. And I also expect travel stocks to be quite popular as well. And I'm really talking about Expedia, hotels, or Airbnb. Now, this is the part where you need to understand how to find stocks that are at a discount, because I was doing a quick search for hotel stocks earlier for the weekly group coaching called Investing Accelerator, and I actually don't find that many discounted hotel stocks. I think a lot of them are already back to their previous high price or they're fairly valued, so you're not going to find a lot of opportunities there. I think you'll find more opportunities in the airline sector, such as DAL, UAL, ACBA that I've listed here. For Airbnb, I still think there is an opportunity there as well, so you just need to do your due diligence and make sure you're comfortable with the financials and the rest of the analysis. So I think a breakout will happen for some of the stocks, such as Airbnb, later this year when travel is fully reopened again. And keep in mind that looking at the Western world, we're dropping travel restrictions, just like in Canada right now. Ontario is dropping it, Norway is dropping it, a couple of other countries in Europe are dropping it as well, but Asia is not dropping it. So then you do see that lag. So you might get international travel between North America and Europe this summer, but I don't think we're going to be getting international travel with Asia until much later this year, probably closer to Christmas is my guess, or early next year. Now, the next sector you want to pay attention to is really entertainment. So as people start to travel, I think traditional retail and entertainment will gain traction again. So for example, Disney is reporting good earnings after the parks are full, they're reopened, people are going back to Disney parks, and more movies are coming out. For example, Doctor Strange and a lot of other Marvel movies are coming out this year as well. Now the next driver is a little bit tricky, which is China. So right now, China is still closed, and China is doing everything they can to boost their economy, including Olympics, including decreasing the interest rate for central bank, which is actually the opposite of what US is trying to do. And some stocks are dependent on China for growth. So China is feeling the pressure on growth because they have been closed off for too long. They have a poor real estate sector. They have a poor technology sector due to regulation for the last 1 to 2 years. And China has recently ordered its own private equity funds that are owned by the company called state-owned enterprises and funds to start investing back in the economy, including real estate and technology again. So China should be gearing up to reopen near the end of the year, optimistically, or the early next year. So that means China stocks should recover. However, the delisting issues for China stocks in the United States is still there. I don't think that has gone yet. It's still around. So I don't think China has resolved the SEC delisting issues, which will be in effect in approximately 2 years. So if you don't believe in China, if you don't have that appetite, then of course don't invest in China. If you for some odd reason have access to the Hong Kong exchange or the Shanghai exchange, then that can potentially be an opportunity, because right now, if you look at the Hong Kong stock market sentiment or the China stock market sentiment, it is actually quite positive because China is trying to boost growth. And right now they're still locked up, so it's mainly dependent on internal consumption. But then when China opens again, then I think that will be a great growth opportunity, but you will need a lot of patience when it comes to investing in China. So there are also stocks that depend heavily on China for growth, and they will start to pick up as well as China is reopening. So for example, Starbucks depends heavily on China for growth. In fact, their growth plan is about opening hundreds of stores in China. So you can imagine if China is closed off, you're getting less tourists. China people are taking a while to get used to coffee instead of tea. Now, finally, I think this is what a lot of us are worried about is the technology correction. So if you have been investing starting from 2021, you will probably experience the medium to small tech correction already. And then this year, you're seeing some of the big techs are correcting as well. So I think this correction will be coming to an end within the next 6 to 9 months. So we don't exactly know when the technology correction will be coming to an end, but I think it will be happening soon. I think we're pretty much there. We can already see Bill Ackman is buying Netflix after the drop. People are buying Facebook after the drop, but we haven't seen the bottom yet. So I think it is still early, but it should be coming soon. And going forward in the next 6 to 12 months, every time I think the interest rate increase, the market will be a little bit scared. So that will create a small correction, basically on a quarterly basis, and then the market will feel safe, nothing bad is happening, and then start investing again. So that is probably how the uptrend will continue. It's a mix of fear and also investing as well. So this is an example of what we go through in Investing Accelerator weekly coaching call. And this is one of the latest one. So if you're interested in learning more about Investing Accelerator, learning about how to invest, then you can attend the free webinar in the first link in the description below. So this will take you to the free 3-hour webinar. So it has a lot of content in it. And I also explain how I invest, what is my story, what have I tried that didn't work. In fact, I actually tried a lot of things over the last 12 years, and you will learn quite a few important lessons from it. And I'll also teach you technical analysis and some fundamental analysis within the webinar as well. And if you're interested in learning more, then you can schedule a call with me after you finish the 3-hour webinar. And we'll hop on a call and I'll answer some of the investing questions you have. And if you send me some additional information, then I can potentially look at your portfolio as well. So that's it for this video, and I hope you enjoy it. If you have a view on the interest rate increase, you can also let me know in the comments below. And I read every single comment, so I look forward to seeing your comment down below. So talk to me.